Welcome to this podcast brought to you by the World Biogas Association as part of 2022 UK Green Infrastructure Week. I'm John Hughes, WBA Head of Communications. The WBA is the global trade association for the biogas, landfill gas and anaerobic digestion, also known as AD, sectors. Today, I'll be discussing with our Chief Executive, Charlotte Morton, the need to transform global waste management infrastructure to capture and reduce greenhouse gas emissions, especially methane, through AD. Charlotte, thank you for giving us your time to discuss this today.
Thanks, John. I'm looking forward to it. Excellent.
Methane has been much in the news in the past year, not least following the launch of the Global Methane Pledge at COP26. John Kerry, the US Special Presidential Envoy for Climate, described the impact of delivering the pledge as extraordinary, the equivalent of making all trucks and lorries, cars, planes, and shipping net zero. So within that context, what role can AD play in supporting the Global Methane Pledge?
Well, as you know, John, humans directly or indirectly generate over 105 billion tons of organic wastes globally each year. All of these wastes release harmful methane and other greenhouse gas emissions directly into the atmosphere as they decompose. We're talking about organic waste from food production, food waste itself, farming waste such as manures and slurries, landfill and wastewater treatment, which together are responsible for about 25% of today's global methane emissions caused by human activity. However, today, only 2% of these are treated and recycled. And this means that 98% are still out there emitting methane. By treating all organic waste through AD, we estimate that AD could reduce global greenhouse gas emissions by a huge 10% by 2030. And that could deliver around 50% of the global methane pledge target.
That's a huge percentage, Charlotte. How can AD achieve this?
Well, obviously we start just by ensuring that those organic wastes are captured and therefore the methane emissions that they are emitting every day are stopped. But once they come to AD, AD transforms those organic wastes into valuable bioresources. It recycles wastes into green energy in the form of biogas for electricity or biomethane for heat and transport. And it can produce enough to replace over a quarter of today's global coal consumption. AD also produces a natural fertilizer, digestate, to restore our soils and other valuable bioproducts, such as bio-CO2, which is needed in the food and drink industry. To capitalize on this technology, it's critical that we usher in a new era of waste management. We haven't altered how we treat our waste for millennia. We either burn it or bury it, and that must change. And AD must be at the heart of this transition. Changing how we look at waste and how we treat waste presents a huge opportunity. Not only do we reduce methane emissions, but we recover the valuable bioresources contained in these wastes to meet our energy demand and other economic needs. There are other additional positive externalities too, such as improving our energy security, which is sadly a critical topic at this moment in time, and restoring our soil health by returning much needed carbon and nutrients back into it. And I haven't even yet mentioned the millions of jobs that will be created around the world.
So what is required to support the deployment of AD globally if it can do all this?
Well, essentially it's political will. Over 100 countries have already signed up to the Global Methane Pledge, through which they commit to delivering a 30% cut in man-made methane emissions by 2030. But whilst the pledge is a great step in the right direction, targets cannot be met without the right level of investment, and most importantly, the policies being put in place to support the technologies that will deliver them. UNEP has recognised that AD is one of the readily available technologies that can do so at low cost, especially in the waste sector. So what we need is the political will to put in place the regulatory environment that will enable the infrastructure to be developed to ensure that we can capture all those organic wastes and turn them into valuable products that we need.
Okay, so if we're to realise AD's huge potential, what would your message be to policymakers who are watching or listening to this podcast?
Well, the UNFCCC, who are the guardians of the Paris Agreement, have called AD a win-win-win-win-win solution. AD offers a circular solution that acts as a catalyst for circular economies across multiple sectors. There is only one direction of travel. When waste becomes a resource, there is very little waste, which significantly reduces greenhouse gas emissions. AD can help deliver the global methane pledge and Paris Agreement targets from farm to fork and back again, whilst supporting energy security, food security, and employment. AD can mark the end of harmful organic waste and deliver systemic change. As the International Energy Agency has said, it stands at the heart of the circular economy. It is tomorrow's technology, but it is available here today. So my message to policymakers and investors is, don't miss such a huge opportunity to transform waste into a valuable green resource for the world and the green economy. Be a first, be a world leader. Thanks.
Excellent. That message is very clear, Charlotte. I hope they will act on it. And thank you very much for your time. And thank you to our viewers for joining us. If you want to know more about global methane action plans, I would encourage you to either visit or tune in to the World Biogas Summit on June the 15th, 16th, where this issue will be discussed in depth with keynote speeches from Rick Duke, the Senior Director and White House Liaison for the Special Presidential Envoy on Climate, John Kerry, Her Excellency Hadija Samira Bouimia, Second Lady of Ghana, Ambassador for the Global Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves and UN Ambassador for SDG 7, and Clifford Reckstaffen, Commissioner of the California Public Utilities Commission. The interesting thing about the CPUC is at the end of February, they approved a biomethane procurement target for utilities in a bid to meet the broader goal of reducing methane and other short-lived climate pollutants by 40% by the end of the decade. Mr. Reckstaffen will speak to how this will be achieved. That is an example of what is possible when the political will is there. I thank you again for tuning in. I thank you once again, Charlotte, for giving us your time to discuss this.
Thanks, John.